Welcome to the Reviews Without Remorse podcast with Joe, Kyle, and Ray. Be warned, the discussions in this podcast will contain detailed spoilers. Enter at your own risk and enjoy the show. So, with everybody looking pretty sharp with their winter facial hair, I feel like we should just talk about facial hair all night because everybody's.
Every year it gets whiter and whiter and whiter. That's why Ray is just doing the mustache, I think.
Oh, when I had the beard going, Sarah came over. She's like, 1, 2, 3. You have 3 gray hairs. I'm like, they're not gray hairs. They're dog hairs. Get it out of there.
3.
Yeah.
A lot more than that.
Like I said to you before, Kyle, welcome to middle age. We've been waiting for you.
Yeah. The late 30s are getting late indeed.
Cool. It happens to all of us.
Cool. So, Ray, tell me what you were just saying, because we were talking a little bit about our popcorn recipes when we do our movie popcorn for movie nights or whatever. What's your secret recipe that you got?
Oh man, so if I had to pick, I'm not a big fan of microwave popcorn. Once it gets cold, like as it gets cooler, it starts to taste stale and all that. So usually my easy go-to is something like the old school Jiffy Pop that you do on the oven with the little handle, and you just gotta stir and stir and stir. Plus, the kids love doing it. But my favorite popcorn I found at my grocery store. It's this giant bag. It looks like one of those wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube band bodies. It's this giant bag. It's like $5, and you put it in the oven at 325 for about 12 minutes. It comes out piping hot, like the movie theater. There's an Amish brand of popcorn butter, which I'm sure is JFK Jr. or RFK Jr. is going to go after because it's probably mostly oil, not butter. But it's delicious on the popcorn. You throw that in the microwave for a little bit to heat that up as well. Drizzle that on top. Little salt, little pepper, and my secret ingredient is Parmesan cheese. Just a little sprinkle adds a little funk to go with all that buttery, salty goodness, and I think it's absolutely delicious.
Fancy.
All right. Yeah, pretty damn fancy. Seriously, it's like gourmet popcorn. I think for me, it's just microwave popcorn, which I should be ashamed of. Kyle, what's your?
You have a go-to brand at least or something?
I do not have a gourmet popcorn recipe, but we should start watching movies at Ray's house.
Yeah, seriously, you're not kidding. I do have a brand because I purposely get the one. I don't know what it is. I can see it in my mind, but it's always it says movie style butter popcorn something or other. So
you look like an Orville Redenbacher kind of guy.
I'm pretty sure that's probably what it is. Yeah,
I'm buying the same kind of thing. It is specifically branded movie theater style or something.
Yeah.
That's what I buy. And sometimes you get that popcorn salt that sticks to it really, really well, and sprinkle some of that on there. Yeah. That's good.
There you go.
But maybe I'm missing out on the gourmet movie popcorn.
I'm telling you, it's not gourmet. It's this giant cheap ass bag that you throw in the oven for like 10 minutes, but it's the best popcorn I've had at home. And also, if you take sea salt, throw it in your blender, blend it up to a fine powder. That's how you get that popcorn style salt that's real fine and sticks to everything. And for those that don't know, you don't have to go to the movies to see movies. You can actually go into a movie theater just to purchase popcorn and take it to go.
Yeah, I've done that before. Guilty.
I never even thought of that before, but actually, that's an interesting. I might try that.
Yeah,
I remember doing that a lot when I was a teenager, and I had to wait for somebody to come and pick me up, whether my parents, my friends' parents, whatever. When you're waiting for the ride, I'll just go buy a popcorn and sit here and eat it until somebody comes and gets me.
Yeah, there you go. All right, yeah, seriously, movie night at Ray's house sounds good to me.
Now, do you layer the butter like they used to in the movie theater, where you put some popcorn, then some butter, then some popcorn, then some butter? Because that was the best method. They don't do that anymore.
It really was. It really is. No, I just take a ramekin, pour that stuff in there, throw it in the microwave for like 30 seconds at a clip until it's hot. Drizzle it on top into the bowl. Add the other ingredients, and then just toss. You got to get that like frying pan flip thing going. Get a good toss going so it coats everything.
Half the time I'm just eating cheesy crackers right out of the box.
Extra two.
What's your guys go to when you go to a movie? You go to the stand and you probably always get the same thing like I do. What's yours?
Ooh.
I'm an M&M's guy. I like peanut M&Ms or Goobers. Remember Goobers? I don't see them
Yes.
as much, but I would never buy them anywhere other than the movie theater. But they were a great movie theater snack, in addition to the popcorn, of course.
Nice.
Absolutely. When I was a kid, it was Milk Duds. Loved Milk Duds. As I've gotten older, I'm like, yeah, when they get stuck in your teeth, now I can't stand it. I've grown to appreciate snow caps.
Okay. Nice. For me, it's always it's a large popcorn with a large now that they have, it used to be cherry Coke, but now that they have those machines where you can pick literally anything you want, now it's cherry Dr. Pepper. So just
Ooh, that
love
sounds
that one.
great.
And
Go to
the
Joe's house for
chaser,
gourmet soda.
there you go. And the chaser is always cherry Twizzlers, the strawberry Twizzlers. It's always after the popcorn, and I always have to open it before the movie starts and crinkle it up a little bit so I can get them out without making too much noise.
That sounds
Kyle.
pretty good too. I do like a good Twizzler at the movies.
Kyle, do you add the M&Ms to the hot popcorn? My kids love
Occasionally,
doing
yeah,
that.
because that is a good combo. You get
Little
the
salty, little sweet, and all
salty, salty sweet. It is a nice mix, and a junior mint maybe for dessert.
that. Ooh, cleanse the palate.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. Freshen the breath a little bit.
Yeah.
During holiday travel, some people get delirious, some get delayed, and some get Del Griffin.
American Light and Fixture, Director of Sales, Shower Curtain Ring Division.
Neil Page got all three.
I was on my way home to spend a nice holiday with my family. Instead, I'm in a motel bed with a stranger.
So instead of Thanksgiving with his family, he's spending 3 days with the turkey.
A Chicago advertising man must struggle to get home from New York to Chicago for Thanksgiving with a lovable oaf of a shower curtain ring salesman as his only companion. Written and directed by John Hughes, 1987's Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. And as you guys noted last week, this is our first rerun or
remake. We've gone full Hollywood remake on Reviews Without Remorse.
That's right.
Everything comes full circle.
It was due for a redo. Yeah, it was due for a remake. So we actually did this about 5 years ago. We did this one, and but here we are with a new crew to talk about it again. So, and honestly, this is I think I said last week it's a favorite of mine. So I talked about it a little bit last week. So I'll definitely let you guys jump in and talk about Trains, Planes, and Automobiles.
It's certainly a movie you can watch more than once, so there's no reason why we can't discuss it more than once.
Yeah, big time.
Also,
you might even call it a yearly must watch for some of us. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I like to throw this one on, and it's usually AMC, TMC, Comedy Central. One of those is playing it pretty much around the clock Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, this is like the Thanksgiving Christmas story. It's
exactly.
That's not that kind of movie, and it's John Hughes, so you really can't go wrong. You know it's going to be good.
John Hughes is kind of like America's uncle. Like he was just like that really comforting presence, and he every movie that he made as a director, but especially as a writer, I always think of him more as a writer than as a director. They all have that. Even if they aren't set around the holidays, they kind of have that holiday spirit to them, and they're very focused on family and growth, and they're very wholesome Americana. It's like if Norman Rockwell was a filmmaker, you'd have John Hughes.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
That's a great point. I totally agree with you about him being sort of a writer first too, by the way, because any story you hear about him, particularly with this movie, like apparently he missed a flight, had a real bad trip home from somewhere at some point, and then like in a matter of days he had written the script for this movie, and everybody was like just kind of in shock of like in how in awe of how fast he wrote this. Yeah, but honestly, he really is brilliant, and I swear that there's part of me. When I was rewatching this today, it was kind of hitting me, and I mean, not that I ever didn't give John Hughes a ton of credit. I mean, I think I do, like everybody else, but I really sometimes think like, but he's really underrated because I mean, again, this guy, he wrote and directed and produced this film, and again, wrote it very quickly. And apparently, too, there was a lot of rewriting on set. And this is also, from what I understand, this I don't want to say that I part of me was going to compare it to Star Wars, saying like it's one of those films that kind of got rescued in the editing room. I don't think it needed rescuing, but there was a lot of editing. Like there's a lot of extra scenes that were shot and just trimmed for pacing and time, I think. Some of it probably you didn't need. Like there's some undertones in the film about Steve Martin and his wife, and the wife getting a little overly concerned, like where is he, kind of thing. And there's kind of an it's sort of a subtext where she's a little nervous that he's off with a woman or something. So yeah, and I think there was a little more in the that was cut out that kind of lends itself to that. So I think that was pretty smart that they cut that out. But again, I'm kind of rambling, but the point being is like I really think John Hughes is just so kind of shockingly underrated. I just feel like he really is a maestro at what he does. I mean, he whips these brilliant films together. And again, I think they're because they are films. These are movies. I mean, these are movies. I mean that. We sometimes talk about films with a capital F versus movies. I think the reason why he doesn't get enough credit is because again, he does make things that were I want to compare it to like fast food a little bit. Like it's made for the masses. It's not something that is he's not Scorsese, he's not Woody Allen, he's not trying to do things that are a little he makes things that are entertainment. But because of that, I think maybe he doesn't get the credit he deserves. So they're very easy, easily absorbed in one sitting kind of thing. So not deep stuff, but honestly, he's really a master of his craft.
And his stories are very universal. You think about, bullshitting your way skipping out of school, or
Right.
going to prom and trying to hook up with the pretty girl, and then missing a flight and being stranded because of bad weather. I mean, these are all really just classic tales that are relatable to everyone. And I think maybe that is why he kind of gets overlooked when we talk about great filmmakers, because his stories are so universal. But that's why audiences really respond to them when we see our lives in a lot of these films.
And to your point, by the way, I mean, he does take things like smallish concepts and somehow blows them up into like larger than life things. To your point, like, missing a flight, trying to get home, trying to get a date with the popular girl at the prom, or having being stuck in detention on Saturday, whatever.
Right.
He can take that and elevate it to something, and make this masterpiece out of it. So it is kind of amazing that. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. That I kind of disagree with you. I think he, like you said, he is a master of his craft, but I don't think he's underappreciated, because I think of how many films that he has are just cult classics, like 16 Candles, like Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I feel like I'm missing at least a handful more, but everything, at least for our generation, through the 70s through 90s. Home Alone, isn't that a John Hughes film as well? Like we all grew up with these films.
He wrote that, he didn't direct it.
That's right. Chris Columbus did that one, I think, right?
Yeah, Chris Columbus did that one.
But I mean, it's
still very much a John Hughes movie, and it's got all the John Hughes people in it,
as well as this movie.
Yeah,
he does seem to have like a little collective that he likes to have as his actors.
Absolutely, yeah, big time.
Yeah, and some pretty big deal cameos in this one also that we can talk about as we kind of analyze this movie. I mean, there's two that really stuck out to me. Like, oh, that he's kind of a big name for just a tiny little cameo. It happened twice, but I don't know if you want to talk about that now or as we get into it a little bit later.
Whenever you want, but you know, it's funny. I actually had one that I just noticed today, by the way, but you might already know what I'm going to say. So why don't you go ahead and say it?
The first one is Kevin Bacon.
Right off the bat, yeah.
Shows up towards the very, very beginning, and he's the guy who grabs Neil's cab before he get in. So I guess maybe he was just hanging around that day, and they needed somebody. But that's kind of a big name for just a small part. The other one that I didn't know, I mean, I suppose I knew, but I didn't really notice it until this time around, was Michael McKean towards the very end. Is the police officer who pulls them over when they're driving the burned out shell of a car, which I was like, oh wow, they got David St. Hubbins in here for like a tiny little bit part, and I love that when that happens, and it's kind of, I've always found that if it's a wholesome movie made by a filmmaker everybody likes, performers are much more likely to do that. They'll show up for just like a little bit part out of, you know, a sense of friendship with the director. So it's a cool thing to see.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Brad Pitt in Deadpool, just for that split second headshot.
Sure,
that's all he was in.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
there was one Home Alone.
Yeah, seriously. There was one this time around. I was watching it. It was funny. I watched it today. Seen it a million times. Owen, the guy who shows up in the pickup truck to drive him to the train station. Like I said, seen it a million times, never noticed him before. All of a sudden today I was looking at IMDb, whatever, and all of a sudden he's like the 6 from the top. And I'm looking at his picture. I'm going, wait a minute, I do recognize that guy. Who is that? He was Dr. Connors in the Spider-Man movies.
Oh,
with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
I did never made that connection before, and all of a sudden I'm looking today and I'm like, oh, okay.
I never noticed that before, but you're absolutely right.
I mean, that was a funny one, but no, you're right. I mean, a lot of really great cameos in this movie, and again, I think when you're that shows what people think of him, what performers think of him as a director.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Wasn't he also Dell in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Wasn't that him?
I'm not sure.
No, that's a different guy. That's can't think of his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Another one of those guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of those guys, Ferris Bueller's father, at the very beginning of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, as he's going into the elevator, he's like, "You're never going to make it." Lyman Ward. I always thought that was Adam Thicke.
It does look like him.
I always confuse those two. It's just one of those faces. I'm like, oh, that was the guy from America's Funny or whatever the show it was that he hosted. No, completely wrong.
And Ed Rooney's secretary also shows up.
Yes,
so that's kind of what I was talking about, like the John Hughes cast of characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Ben Stein as well.
Ben Stein, yeah. No, I mean John. He's got his crew, honestly, for sure. The bit with Ferris Bueller's father, though, I kind of feel like just by having him in there in that scene, again, he's also from Chicago. He's headed back to Chicago too. Kind of, I'm like, does this imply that he is actually Ferris Bueller's father in this? Because I think he very well could be.
There's
no reason. There's no reason why that couldn't be the case.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I remember in Ferris Bueller, I don't know if they ever said what Ferris's dad did, but I remember him like schmoozing clients at lunch or something or other, saying, and I remember
the mother was in real estate.
What's that?
The mother was a real estate agent.
Mother was in real estate.
She was trying to close the deal, but they never really specified.
With the Vermont people.
Vermont people, that's right.
The Vermont people, yeah. That's right.
She almost closed that deal.
Yeah. So I think you see like the beginnings of a John Hughes cinematic universe in there.
Definitely. And there's multiple YouTube videos where they do deep dives on all the connections. That's like a rabbit hole I want to go down sometime soon when I got nothing else to do.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I got a question for you guys.
Go for it.
Is this the original buddy road trip movie? Because there's so many that followed afterwards. Like you have like Tommy Boy, the Hangover, what else? Dumb and Dumber. Even there's so many movies after that. Is this the one that kind of like kicked it off? It's the earliest one I could think of.
I probably would say no, because I think there's probably I can think of a couple I think that go back a little further. I'm not positive, but yeah, I feel like the road trip movie's kind of been a thing for a while, but I think this one it's kind of more unique in a lot of other ways though.
Oh, for sure,
like
for sure.
it's not a standard. I mean, I guess a lot of road trip movies, have different things. I mean, yeah, we're trying to get from here to there and antics ensue. But I feel like this one is a little different. It's got a whole because it's more of a character movie. It's
sure.
And I guess you could say that about a lot of the other ones as well. But this one really is about the dynamic between the two guys in this, who are so well written and perfectly. And it's funny too, I feel like one of the brilliant things about this movie is like you feel like some days you feel like you're Steve Martin and some days you feel like you're John Candy. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, this is true.
So but yeah, I mean honestly that's the genius of this film is like just the two of them. Like I mean honestly, like I feel like, and we touched on this last week because I was saying like it's the kind of movie where like 1 minute, somebody's wiping their face with somebody's dirty underpants, but then there's other parts of the movie where you really are kind of getting into really deep things here. And honestly, I mean, like I almost feel like it's kind of corny and cliche to say like, and along the way we learn deep lessons, but this is kind of the exactly that kind of movie. I mean, along the way you do learn lessons, I mean, like Steve Martin gets through this and I feel like he really does realize things about himself, maybe learns a few things along the way kind of thing. And so, yeah, I mean, it really does kind of go there, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, and there's a reason why this movie is set around Thanksgiving as opposed to any other time, because Steve Martin, Neil Page is learning about family and friendship and how family is not necessarily in your blood, but it's also who you bring into your heart. And that's a lesson that he needs to learn. And no time of year says that better. No holiday expresses that more than Thanksgiving. I mean, the best Thanksgivings I've ever had have been when somebody brings over that one friend who's got no other place to go for whatever reason. They live away from home or their family went elsewhere or whatever. And that's really what Thanksgiving is all about. And I think that's one of the reasons why we keep coming back to this movie at Thanksgiving and why Hughes chose to set it around that specific holiday. I mean, it's a deliberate message about friendship, and it does really pull at the heart.
Yeah,
true. And I think there's something with the wife too, or Steve Martin's Neil, that like he almost takes his family for granted, because when he's on the phone, like, oh yeah, I'm getting delayed again. Like it's almost like she's just like, okay, well, how long is it going to be this time? It shouldn't be more than 10 hours. So he just kind of dismisses the whole thing, even though the holiday is coming up. But then as it progresses and he's learning with with Dell, he finally reaches that point.
I think you're both touching on a core thing. I mean, honestly, Steve Martin I think he's realizing that he's not taking things for granted exactly. I mean, I think he wants to get home. He wants to be with his family. It's not like he doesn't appreciate these things, but I think, once he realizes, right. Like once he sees that John Candy doesn't have anybody, it's almost like, this whole time I'm belly aching about trying to get home and all this stuff. This guy has nothing. Like his wife is gone. He has no family. He has no nothing. And I think that really does sort of help him to put things in perspective.
For sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the movie does such a good job of telling us that message, and we really see Neil grow as a character when he realizes I don't have it so bad. My life is actually really great.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Here I am this whole time complaining about this, that, the other thing, and this poor guy. Yeah. I totally agree.
I think there is a danger about like people could fall into the trap of saying that, oh, the circumstances of this movie would not happen today because of smartphones and Uber and mobile apps for different airlines and things. This still happens. The circumstances might be different, but we've all been stuck because of a flight or a train or something. I mean, a rental car that isn't there, that has happened to me. I did not react the same way that Neil does. I kind of went the complete opposite and did Mr. Charming Roger Moore persona, like, please help me get a car. But these are still really universal incidents, and yeah, maybe the old carbon paper imprint of a credit card isn't taken anymore, but those are mechanical things. The theme is still the same. The premise is still universal even today. Okay, so maybe you're in a rural area where Uber doesn't have drivers, something like that. We can still wind up in a situation like Neil and Del today. It's just the mechanics that are different. So don't fall into that trap, ladies and gentlemen.
Definitely still relevant.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
It was funny. So we were talking this afternoon, and I was saying, like, I don't know if I feel like listening to my old episode, because maybe I should try to keep it fresh, whatever. But I was like, yeah, let me. And I heard myself 5 years ago telling the story just about like very same thing. And it was actually a bond trip that I was on, because that's why we were down. We took a cruise from New Orleans down. We were supposed to end up in the Bahamas, but Hurricane Sandy was beating the shit out of the Bahamas while we were on the boat. So we got sidetracked. And by the time we got back to New Orleans, it had gone up the coast and had shut down the airports at home. So I was stuck in New Orleans. My flight got canceled. I mean, it's sunny and nice in New Orleans, but it's, there's a hurricane at home. So the flight got canceled, and I'm like, what do I do? And here I had to schlep to the airport. I got stuck in New Orleans 2 extra days. I had to take a flight. I could only take a flight to Baltimore. Then from Baltimore, I had to get onto a train up to Philadelphia. And then from Philadelphia, I had to take a bus to New York, and then a bus from New York to home. So, yeah, I mean, and again, the whole time it's like, this is all going on like throughout the night. I mean, I remember like getting to Baltimore, getting over to where the bus station was, but by that point it's like the middle of the night. So I'm sleeping in the bus depot or whatever, the train station, whatever. And so again, like, yeah, I get all this. I mean, we've all probably been there.
I don't travel that much.
And that was Hurricane Sandy. That was only 2012. So these circumstances still happen. The mechanics are a little bit different. We have more modern technology, but I mean, flights get canceled, snowstorms happen, planes get grounded, and car accidents and things still happen all the time.
Yeah, exactly. People's cell phones die, so you can't always rely on Uber. Yeah, true.
Well, Kyle, speaking
rental cars not being in the space is frustrating.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
Right.
Kyle, speaking of car accidents, I think that might be my favorite scene is the mess around.
Oh, who
I
hasn't?
absolutely love that.
Especially at Thanksgiving when you're driving around.
Yeah.
You put that song on and do the piano on the dashboard. I've done that so many times in my life.
Yeah. Oh my god.
No, we got when Sarah and I were watching that, and that scene came on. He flicks the cigarette out the window, and it comes back in. That's probably how I got into firefighting. I accidentally burnt a wall down in my room, smoking a cigarette, and trying flicking it out the window in my room without my parents knowing, and it blew back in and landed on the windowsill. Had a fire on Christmas, burnt a whole wall down in my house.
Oof.
So,
Oh man.
origin story.
Life imitates art.
Oh
It
yeah,
does. Seriously. So speaking of that scene, what is everybody's like just laugh out loud moment?
I'd like to tell you, John Candy did not break that seat. Those old car mechanics were garbage. I don't blame him at all.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, they're the Marconi family.
Paramount Pictures presents
Wilma!
Steve Martin,
You ever been to Hawaii?
Yeah.
You see Don Ho while you were there?
See the second show, that's the best one.
Is that right?
Yeah.
John Candy,
My all-time like side-splitting scene has got to be "Those Aren't Pillows." I mean, that is such a classic. That's on the reel whenever they do like those. Remember those promo trailers that they would do, like the best of Warner Brothers. I'm just making this up, but the best of Warner Brothers comedy, and they would show a whole bunch of clips from comedy movies. That was always there. It was always "Those Aren't Pillows."
Yeah.
How about that Bears game? They're gonna go all the way. Help the team, help the team.
And stuff. Oh. For me, it's got to be "You're going the wrong way."
Yeah.
And then when
That's a great one too.
Dell turns into the devil, just that's good.
Yeah, that for me is like the moment I think where this movie starts to transcend into something else. Because honestly, when for me it's not even it's like you're going the wrong way. Wait, they said we're going the wrong way. What would they? How would they know? They don't know. How would they know where we're going?
Yeah.
How would they
They're
know?
drunk.
I think it's Steve Martin going, yeah, how would they know? Thank you. Like that's the part that kills me.
That's right.
I mean, that whole scene is obviously just perfection right there. I mean, the whole thing, and then they crash, and seriously, they altered the skeletons, and he's the devil and all that stuff. But honestly, even afterwards, when the car catches fire and Steve Martin starts laughing, and you finally did it to yourself this time because you had to rent the car, and he's like, well, you had to rent the car, right? Whatever. Then they start fighting all over again.
Yeah, your wallet's in the
moment when Steve Martin just loses his shit. It's like even my brothers sometimes will be like, remember when Dad used to get so pissed that his voice used to just do this thing, whatever, like that. Like he would get that pissed, and that's how you knew he was pissed. But the second Steve Martin goes, why would I put it there? That's like that. I love that's the part that like that's when I'm like losing my mind right there, laughing at that point. And I feel like no matter how many times I've seen the movie, like that always gets me.
There's that certain octave that they
Yes.
I mean, you couldn't rent a car without a credit card.
Right.
You couldn't.
I mean, you couldn't.
You couldn't, right?
He's just sitting there quiet, like,
Yeah.
oh my god. But that's what I mean. Like how he could write this stuff is just absolutely amazing to me. Like that, like it's I don't know what it is, but it's like he just knows how to amp things up every time. You know what I mean? Like just keeps getting like worse and worse, crazier and crazier, whatever.
Oh, I was gonna say, what do you think was Dell's most annoying habit? If you were in Neil's shoes, so to speak, that would probably be mine. But what do you think was the thing that would push you over the edge as a having a fellow traveler that would do some of the things that he did? For me, it was definitely on the plane taking off the shoe. I've seen people do that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, are you serious? But when the sock came off, I was like, oh no! And then he's swinging.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, I understand.
There
Like,
should
I'm
be a
uncomfortable
rule
too, but
on There should be a rule on all airplanes: no bare feet whatsoever. You can take off your shoes, but you better keep your socks on. No bare feet on
Oh,
airplanes. That should be a
100%.
law.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen people do it on flights too. Like they're like, "Oh my god, no, no,
It's the worst.
no." I mean, I want to
I
do
don't
it,
know.
but
I
I'm not
don't think
gonna do it.
I don't think I would like sleeping in a puddle of beer. And I
Like you
don't think
haven't.
that
I mean, come on.
well, not
Well,
somebody
that
else's
That was out of
beer.
necessity, though.
that whole scene. I mean, honestly, that whole scene does. I mean, them in the room when he's got the socks in the. First off, it's like I kind of feel like you guys haven't even been together that long to require having to do your laundry in the sink, and you know what I mean. Like I could go one night,
That's
you
true.
know, in the socks and the underwear or whatever. So I mean, I do feel like that was kind of like the overboard moment, sort of. Like,
I don't
Well,
think
and
so
he's got a
because
whole
keep in
trunk
mind
full
he's
of crap,
homeless.
so he could just put on clean clothes.
Yeah,
that
but we
too,
don't know
yeah,
what's in the trunk. Those are all his possessions. He's homeless. That's the big
That's
reveal at
true.
the
Good
end. So
point.
yeah.
maybe he has to, he's washing up his clothes. He's using up all the towels because he's a big dude. Maybe that's why he that first night he's cleaning them. Who knows how long he's worn them beforehand?
Yeah. I mean, this could be the first
That's a
hotel room
very good
he's
point.
seen in a while. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he lives in places like these. You know, he lives in the motels where he sells the shower curtain rings. I mean, that's his whole life is these places.
Yeah.
So he kind of treats them all the way he would treat his home.
yeah.
Gets very
Well,
comfortable.
what was your favorite from the montage? It happens real quick. But Dell's shower ring sales pitches. What was it? Neil Diamond's mood ring or something was one of them. Something like that.
What was like a Walter Cronkite mood ring? I'm like, or some
Yeah.
moon
One
ring or
was filled
something?
with helium. That's what made
Yeah.
it so light.
That's what makes them so light.
Yeah.
Oh, what was it to the teenagers? Wow, they make you look older. I'd say
Yeah,
like
yeah.
18, 19, cash out.
Yeah. Exactly.
I thought that was a great scene too.
Yeah. I
Well,
tell
it shows
you
you
too,
what a
you know,
great salesman he is.
Yeah, and
yeah,
Steve Martin even says that.
yeah, very true. I tell you too, you know, I only the last couple times that I've seen it did I really notice this. I mean, I've seen it again, like I've seen it a million times. I saw this, you know, I don't know how many times, but the scene when they first get to the airport, like it's funny too. I was watching it today and I was thinking, like, even just the scene of him chasing down the taxi and the taxi, you know, runs over his briefcase and everything.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
things are already turning into like a complete disaster, and he hasn't even like left the front of the building barely yet. But it's funny when when he meets Dell again in the airport, he's sitting across from him, and he's kind of doing this like he's looking, trying to like, who is that guy? I know I've seen him. And then there's that quick shot of him sitting there, but he just kind of goes like, you know, makes the face, and he's sitting behind the taxi door. But it's like the taxi door is at the airport. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I feel like even though I've seen this movie like a million times, only recently did I really notice that moment, because I feel like it went so quickly that I barely had time to register that it's not a shot of him back in the taxi. It's literally him with the taxi door in the airport. Like they went to a lot of trouble to do that for like a half a second moment.
But that's John Hughes. Like he'll do
Yeah,
those
yeah.
those little 2-second gags that are just hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
how his movies can be hilarious and poignant at the same time. You know, the same film can be both side splitting and a tearjerker. It's really special.
Yes.
For sure. I actually thought about trying to order that book off of eBay as like a little gag for when we did this podcast, since I had the mustache going. They actually have it now as a planes, trains, and automobile trivia book with that cover. It just says the trivia thing real small in the cover, but real small in the corner of the cover of the book. But yeah, if you actually wanted one for your collection, they're out there. Maybe we should do a trivia night for you guys.
Yeah, I'm game.
That'd be kind of fun.
That'd be fun.
Some other props I ran into while I was online. The Ashkenagan truck that they take at the very end, somebody actually made Lego sets to build that. So there's some hardcore fans of this movie out there.
Really? I actually
wonder.
didn't. Go ahead.
I was just gonna wonder if there is a planes, trains, and automobiles community. Like if people get together and
wouldn't be
discuss it and
surprised.
hang out and have gatherings and and the like.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I did find one time. I actually looked online to see if somebody had like a map, like if of where he actually goes. So if you wanted to retrace his steps, and if you Google, just Google like the route from New York to Chicago that Steve Martin and John Candy do, it's there, and you can follow it along pretty well. So I'm very tempted to someday when I got a little spare time and
Take a little road trip.
yeah.
Do you
That's
guys think
actually
that
one of my questions about logistics. That by the time they finally get to St. Louis, I don't know that trip from St. Louis to Chicago was far enough for them to get into the hijinks that they still get into for that last leg of the trip. I mean, that's like a 4-hour drive, which I suppose is long enough that one or two disasters could still take place. But it seems like, okay, you're that close to the finish line. You should be able to make it the rest of the way home. And yet, movie continues.
True.
Well, I mean, it's interesting too. The whole journey is 2 days, and maybe not even, like, really kind of just a day and a half, because
Right.
like it starts. I mean, he's looking at his watch. It's 4:45 on Tuesday, because it says 2 days before Thanksgiving.
That's
So you know what I mean. So the flights, the hotels in Wichita, whatever, that's all just from the time he leaves the office till the time he goes to bed. And the rest of it is really just the next day. I mean, think about it. I mean, it's they wake up, breakfast, they get robbed, the train, and there's stuff in the train and the bus, whatever, and he's at the airport again trying to rent the car. By that night, that's only the end of the second night. Then they wake up the next morning.
True.
And then they're basically waking up the next morning on Thanksgiving morning, trying to get home in time for dinner. So I mean, honestly, like, yeah, it's a lot that's jammed into a matter of like barely 36 hours, I think.
I never put that together, but yeah.
It's true.
I mean,
they just had the two motels, and that's it. Those are the only nights.
Yeah, but seriously, and it's. I mean, it kind of. It makes it feel like this took like a week.
Right.
It's really
well,
about
for them, it probably
48
did feel that way. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Anybody who's lived through an experience like that, they
Sure.
drag.
Yeah. Oh, big time. I mean, just an hour to waiting to get on the plane sometimes feels like 5 hours.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's and that's also, that's another thing I noticed too, is like it is a pretty lean runtime. It's basically an hour and a half, to which I kind of sometimes go like, that's really tight. Like, I don't know why. Like, every time I watch it, it's a pretty quick watch. Like everything moves quickly, and I feel like it's it's over before it gets started.
I don't think it feels fast though. I think it's got like a perfect pacing to it.
Yeah,
I was just going to say the same thing, and I think the fact that it is that tight and there's no fat on it whatsoever, that's one of the reasons why it's so rewatchable, because there's no like, oh, this part where it really drags, or the part that I hate where I'm going to get up and get something to drink or go to the bathroom. That's not here. Everything in this movie serves a purpose. The story keeps moving forward. At no point is there like any filler or fluff. It keeps moving, and that's one of the reasons why you keep watching it, because there is no bad part. It's all good parts.
Very true.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I feel like it's, again, I don't want to say rescued in the editing room, but yeah, it's trimmed and tight to where it moves quickly, that it never really pauses for long to take a break. Yeah, it's a pretty well-paced movie, right? Every scene is a really good scene.
And some get Del Griffin.
American Light and Fixture, Director of Sales, Shower Curtain Ring Division.
I'm glad that they did cut the suspected adultery plot line that you mentioned earlier, because that I think would have cheapened this movie and really taken away from the overall message about, get home to your family, be with your family, bring this man who has no family into your own. Having something tawdry going on would have killed all of that goodwill.
Yeah.
True.
I'm curious now. I got to look into it again because I can't remember if the way I heard it was that basically I'm not sure if the wife was right to be suspicious. Like maybe there was something implied that there was a reason why she was so, or she was just a little paranoid or whatever. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly how deep that went. So, but yeah, I'd be curious to look into that some more.
If she's paranoid, that ruins her character because she's presented as almost this angelic figure.
Yes.
And to make her paranoid, I think would have. Oh, I got to get home to my paranoid wife who thinks just an overnight business trip is me stepping out, and I'm not. I'm just trying to make my way home. That changes the whole tone of the film. I'm glad that they did not go that way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It doesn't need it at all. Speaking of things it doesn't need, here's one of the things I find interesting too is that this movie easily could have been a PG movie if it was not for one part. And I thought it was kind of funny because it's almost like John Hughes never seemed to be concerned at all that, like, a lot of studios will say, we need you to, like, John McClane can't say, can't drop an F-bomb because we need to make this a PG-13 movie. Seriously?
Right.
But like John Hughes has a movie that could easily be a PG movie, but yet he does one scene where they just throw in a tirade of F-bombs, and now it became an R movie.
But I think that had to happen though, just to show how frustrated it. Like,
yes.
Especially since he's such a tight ass, like a really straight laced guy.
Yes,
you need that scene there just to show how he has finally snapped. I mean, he's just dropped his whole upright businessman veneer. That's gone. I mean, it's just boiled down to raw emotion. And it is kind of like we all have been at that point. We've all been at that point where we've just been snapped.
Yeah.
And I do think it's there. And I also think that giving this movie an R, and this could turn into a rant, and I don't want to go down this road too far, but giving this movie an R just because of that one scene where he drops the F-bomb 10 times kind of shows how ridiculous and stupid the MPAA rating systems are. I mean, it's so arbitrary because this is such a gentle, wholesome movie that just a handful of F-bombs as an automatic R is ridiculous. I mean, you're saying that this belongs in the same section of the video store as, I don't know, Saving Private Ryan. I mean, come on.
Right.
This is not a hard movie. I would show this movie to a 9-year-old uncut, just exactly as is.
Yeah.
I think my kids hear worse. I think we have an R-rated household. if that were the case.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, no, that's a great point.
It's worse on the school bus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I've said for years, I said, honestly, I do find it incredibly frustrating that, how you can have somebody mowing down people. Like, I mean, movies can be violent, very, very violent, and still not quite get that R until you drop the second F-bomb. Like they literally will say like a movie can get one F in a movie and still get a PG-13 rating. And it's like, what? It's like what is it? What
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and The Terrifier are rated the same. Like, that makes no sense.
Right.
I mean,
Braveheart. Like there are so many of those movies.
Seriously. Yeah, I totally agree. It's a really weird thing.
I'm about to make this
totally
podcast R-rated. You ready? Would anybody put the and like you we talked? I mentioned earlier about Home Alone and John Hughes. You said wrote it, not directed it, but did you think the end of Home Alone might have been like a callback or a little homage to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? When the mother's making her way home and she's bouncing around all these different places trying to get home, she ends up in the back of a budget bus with John Candy and his polka band. You think that might have been like a little callback, or was that just a coincidence? I read it as like a little homage, maybe.
I don't, I didn't think of that until you said it, but now that you're mentioning it, I don't see why not. I mean, it
They're
does
having a little heart to heart in the back, about
kind of
getting
stands to
home.
reason. I would say
Well, we're
possibly.
kind of in the same world, they're trying to get home for the holidays for different reasons, of course, but
Mhm.
that flight that gets canceled or that travel panic for whatever reason, it is the themes are very similar. I mean, we're talking about themes of family.
Right.
The stories are different, but the overall heart is the same. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was deliberate.
Mhm. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I to your point earlier, John Hughes does love to bring back people who's worked with him and other things. The bringing back of John Candy could have just been a good thing. Hey, he's willing to do it. Let's put him in. But then once they got rolling, it's like, hey, wait a second,
Mm.
she's doing a road trip
And
for
he
John
steals
Candy.
that. He steals that.
Why not? Yeah,
He's so good
sure.
at that part.
Yeah, seriously.
We should talk a little bit about the cast, especially the two leads, because you have two of the best comedic talents of the era working together in this, and they play off of each other so well as the straight man and the goofball. I don't think anybody else could have done it as well. I mean, you're talking about like Bing Crosby and Bob Hope level of chemistry here.
Yeah. No, that's 1000%. I totally agree with you. Steve Martin to me is kind of amazing. It's amazing that he started out being so kind of over the top. I mean, to the point where it was almost like, he was sort of like somewhere between like Jim Carrey and Sebastian Maniscalco, just in being like very physical and kind of over the top. Yet he also plays the perfect straight man. Like he plays a straight man like nobody else, and it's sort of weird how that kind of happened. So yeah, he's so subtle. He's just the perfect foil for somebody like John Candy. He's so good in this.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because I had seen something maybe an hour ago that caught my caught my eye, and I had to look it up again. But I agree. I don't think anybody else could have pulled this off. But originally the leads were Tom Hanks as Neil Page and John Travolta as Del Griffith. I don't buy that. I don't see that working, at least not nearly as well as they did. That's just,
I don't see Travolta pulling off that part. Tom Hanks as the straight man, yeah,
you can see
okay.
that, yeah.
He probably could have done it. I think Dan Aykroyd probably could have done it. But there's only one Del Griffith. And we all know somebody like that. There's always that guy who is a nice guy, a really nice person, and you feel mean, but like they're a little too nice, and eventually it reaches the point where they're kind of irritating, and you don't want to tell them like, all right, shut up, back off, because they're nice, but oh man, they are just too much.
and just like Del Griffith too, you can try to really quietly back away a little bit, but boy do they, you know what I mean? They get that attitude, like they know what you're doing, and they'll let you know that they're a little butthurt by it, and it's big time.
And they're just trying to be friendly. I mean, that's all they're trying to do. It's not
right.
There's no malice at all, but sometimes you just need your space, and they
You're
will
right.
not
I'm
give
sorry
it to
I
you.
annoyed you with my friendship.
First you delay me, then you bump me. I can't wait to see what happens next.
going home for Thanksgiving.
I can help get you home.
All right, gentlemen, I think it's time to score this film. I'm tempted to go first, only because I know what I scored it last time, and I'm probably going to stick with what I said earlier. So I'll go first and just say that I gave this movie a 10 the first time I reviewed it, and I'm gonna stick with it. I feel like 10 feels pretty high because I feel like it's a movie that's not aspiring. Again, it's not Ben-Hur, it's not The Godfather. It's just a great, satisfying movie. But again, it just sets out to do the thing it wants to do, and it just hits that note with absolute perfection. So I frankly can't find a flaw in this movie, so I'm going to give it a 10.
It is a classic, and it's hard to criticize. It's part of America.
It is.
However, having said that, I'm going to pull a Ray, and I'm going to give this one a
Break out the
9.5
decimal point.
because I do have one teeny tiny nitpick, and it's such a small thing. It's such a little nitpick that it doesn't even knock it down a full point. It's only a half a point. So this is a 9.5 for me.
Nice.
Okay. I'm going to go with two scores. I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I only recently, within probably the past maybe 5-6 years, started appreciating this movie. So it hasn't been with me as long or lingered. So I'm going to give it overall as a comedy an 8.6. But as a Thanksgiving movie, I'm going to give it a 10 because it's the only Thanksgiving movie I know of. I love it. I enjoy it. It hasn't built up that repertoire with me, but it's getting there. So maybe in a few years, it'll rank into the high nines.
Ray, you are the only person who can score a movie and make me have to do math.
You want to average it out?
I'm gonna have to average this out and come up with a Ray's overall number now.
8.6 plus 10 divided by 2
to the third power
with the little repeating signal. Yeah. 6666666.
Yeah. All right. For your consideration, who wants to go first?
Well,
you go
I'll
ahead,
jump
Mr. 10.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I don't know which way to go, and just picking out a thing. I think maybe this time I will talk. I feel like I want to highlight John Candy, and I feel like we didn't talk about him enough quite in this review because honestly, he's a guy with such depth. He's got much more range, I think, than most people appreciate. Again, he can, one minute you're chuckling at something stupid, but in the next minute he's pulling on your heartstrings, and he really does make you like this. That's why I say I don't think anybody else could have played this exactly right, because again, he's, on one hand, you understand Steve Martin completely getting so annoyed with this guy. We all know people like that. They're just too there. It's like, dude, just take a breath and step back a little bit. You're a nice guy, but I need a minute from you for a minute. But then in the next breath, you know why he's schlepping across the field to grab the other end of the trunk and help him out, because it's like you can't, you feel for this guy. So I mean, he's just that good. So yeah, he nails this part perfectly. So I really kind of, I was gonna give it to John Hughes, because I kind of started out talking about how I think he's talking about how underrated he is. But Ray, to your point, in high school, we all knew how great John Hughes was. I mean, everyone just knew, this guy was just phenomenal, and every movie he did, was brilliant. So I think I'll go with John Candy. Just say I think that he gone way too soon, by the way, kind of died way too young, and but just really just brilliant. I think of all John Candy's roles, I think this was his best, and this is the one that I think he was most suited for. Like this was made for him, really. I mean, he was this
Yes.
guy kind
Yeah.
of, just a good-hearted guy, and just played it perfectly. So that's mine.
When you
Kyle,
know
you mind
this
if I jump
movie
in
and
there
you
real
know the
quick?
twist, I just have one little thing that I want to add to Joe's point about John
Sure.
Candy. When you know this movie and you know the twist, at any time that Neil brings up Marie and says, so, you know, your wife sounds like a lovely person, or I'd like to meet her someday. The acting that John Candy does, when you know that he still loves his wife, but his wife has been gone,
Yeah.
is just brilliant. I mean, you could see it
Yeah.
in his face where he just says like, yeah, she's really special. But and the way he plays that each and every time is just
Yeah.
so real. It's so authentic and really emotional. Go ahead, Ray.
100%. And that's why I wanted to jump in, because my consideration is John Candy's known for being a comedian, but he really flexes his dramatic chops in this. I saw an interview with Steve Martin where he kept saying, like, after scenes he would have to like check on him, be like, you know, we're just acting, right? I don't actually mean what I'm saying. Like, he was genuinely concerned because of how expressive he was in those dramatic scenes.
Mm.
And I mean, I always think of him as like Uncle Buck. It's like probably my favorite John Candy movie.
Yeah.
You're not used to seeing him doing those dramatic roles like that, but like you said, he's got chops, and that's mine. Give it up to John Candy, because the man had range, even though he was kind of typecast as the big, goofy, lovable guy. But man, he had some skills.
Absolutely.
Did you ever catch JFK? And it's an epic. It's a long movie.
Yeah.
But that's the only time that I've ever seen him do something serious. I don't know of any other movie where he had like a straight dramatic performance. But in JFK, it kind of shows that he could do that too. And I think had he been around longer, we would have seen him take other roles beyond just the lovable goofball.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah,
you
no,
said,
that's great.
gone too soon.
Yeah, I totally agree. And by the way, you know, Ray, you mentioned Uncle Buck. It's, you know, it's kind of interesting how, you know, he plays Uncle Buck, and we probably identify with him because Uncle Buck is probably like us. You know what I mean? Like, you know, a little rough around the edges, but he's really good with the kid. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Heart of gold, but likes to drink and play cards a little too much. That sort of stuff. But you know, it's interesting though. That he could do Uncle Buck, being a guy you could identify with, but then he does Del Griffith, which is, and he's playing like that guy that you know. You know what I mean? Like, it's like
Right.
plays a way different. You know, and it's really interesting how he does that.
For sure.
And younger than you think in these movies. Like he's not. He's 37 years old in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He's not like an
Really
older, middle-aged guy.
The
fact that he was able to pull that much emotion for being, you know, I'm 37 years old, so being a relatively young guy, playing that world weary is very impressive.
Yeah. I think he died at 44. I mean, he was a young,
way too young.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I mean, kind of scary just how young he was. And you know, and to your point, I mean, he plays older.
Big time.
Yeah. Did you say your thing, Kyle?
I just a little one, and it's something that every time I hear it, it brings a smile to my face. But it's the Red River Valley remix, Red River Rock, that they play as they're driving away, and it's just it's something that it makes me think of this movie. It makes me think of family road trips. It makes me think of Thanksgiving. Like, do 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 do.
Yeah.
It just, you know, cheers me up every time I hear it. It's just the unofficial theme of this film.
Nice. Sweet. I tell you too, you know, it's so funny whenever I hear like the music. I love when he's first chasing down the taxi in the beginning and he yells out, "You're messing with the wrong guy," and then
You're
later,
messing with the wrong
Yeah,
guy.
"You're messing with the wrong guy," and then later in the movie, it starts playing as part of the music. Sort of, he's just in the background. You hear, "You're messing with the wrong guy." Like, I love
Yep.
that. That is so great.
It's hysterical.
That music
right,
and that
right
music
as
they
he's at
play.
his lowest point.
Yes. So good.
I don't remember if it's another John Hughes movie that does it, but I know that I've heard that gag in a soundtrack before with something, and the whole time I was watching, I'm like, why do I know this? Like, aside from this movie, I've seen that done or heard that done in other movies before, or at least another movie, at least one, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. I just thought it was interesting you brought that up. And I'm like, man, like I was hoping maybe one of you been like, oh, they did that in, I don't know, Beverly Hills Cop or something like that. I'm like, no, there's another movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And what about who asked you? Anybody got anything? I'm exempt because I gave it a 10.
You are.
I've got a tiny one, and it's tiny, and like my favorite thing about this movie, my itty bitty nitpick is also a musical one, and it's during a very pivotal scene in the movie. It's the "I like me" speech, when Dell gives that speech. "I like me. Maybe I talk too much. I also listen too much. You know, my customers like me. My wife likes me." Really emotional, and one of the things I think that people remember most about this movie, that they just made a documentary about John Candy called "I Like Me," and then they kind of, in my mind, cheapen it by putting in that very ethereal choral music that we don't hear again until towards the end of the film during the montage. And it's almost, to me, signaling like, this is the emotional moment. This movie is not just a comedy. This movie is also a very deep, metaphorical, emotional one. Pay attention. And to me, it just seems like, well, I heard his speech, and like his acting is strong enough to convey those emotions that I don't need to be signaled by the musical cue. I find it to be a little cliche. It's like,
Yeah.
not necessary. Just to the point of, don't let his acting shine on its own. I don't need that. But it's a tiny nitpick.
Yeah. That's an interesting point, because, it's funny, because I was sort of noticing today that, the music there's a lot of points in the film that I think the score is intentionally over dramatic. There's like, I mean, there's so many parts, like when he's in the bathroom and he's got the socks, and like the music is going like dun 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 dun, like, I mean, it's purposely like way the hell dialed up to 11. And I think that was sort of right there too. And it is kind of, it almost makes it easily spoofable, if that's a word. Like, I think a couple times, like, just from doing videos over the years, like if I had like a hater who said something, I'm like, oh, I should do the, "Oh, you want to hurt me" speech, and I had to play that music in the background. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I mean, it is a little over the top, but I think it works, but I get your point. It does telegraph a little bit.
Yeah. Who do you think did it better, John Candy or Peter Griffin?
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Apparently Seth MacFarlane loves this movie because he's done so many references throughout Family Guy. All different throwbacks, from Stewie being the little devil with Brian and stuff like that, and Peter giving that whole monologue.
And in one of the Star Wars episodes, the drivers of one of the Imperial walkers are doing the mess around.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You can tell that he likes a lot of the same movies that we like.
Oh yeah, we should have him on sometime.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I'm sure he will.
Go reach out.
When we do our top 5 musicals, that's when we'll invite Seth MacFarlane as a guest.
Oh, there we go.
And did who else? Who's
I did not go.
Yeah,
Who asked you? So this one's hard because I really don't have one. The only thing I could think of, and we already talked about it, like it's not a dated movie. I mean, there's some things like you said, like technology that's in there that we don't deal with, like the credit cards and the carbon paper, the pay phones and things like that. But I'm not sure if somebody like we're all generally the same age, but I think like any 20-something-year-old that's never seen this movie before jumps into it, maybe they might not appreciate it as much as we do if they don't understand the underlying message and appreciate these two actors from our generation. So I mean, I'm kind of not even nitpicking. I really can't think of anything that's terrible about the movie or anything I completely disliked or that set me off. But I don't think it's as funny as some other comedies from not even the same era, but like from then on. That's why I scored it an 8.6 for a comedy, but a 10 for a Thanksgiving movie. I'm reaching. Really, it's hard to pick something bad, but I don't know. There's just like some of the humor. It's not dated. I loved it, but
is that? I guess that's it, gentlemen. I think we just reviewed Trains, Planes, and Automobiles just in time for Thanksgiving.
Yes, indeed. My favorite holiday.
Yep. Nice. So what do we got coming up? Aren't we, I think after this, we're moving on to the next holiday, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we're going to do top 5 Christmas movies.
yeah.
Nice.
Which the roster is much deeper for Christmas than it is for Thanksgiving.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, very much so.
And I believe we're following the same format as we did for Halloween.
Yep.
That's the plan.
Our fall movies, yeah, we'll do 4, and 4, and then our number ones. So yeah. Cool. I'm looking forward to it. That'll be fun. I cannot believe we're talking holidays already. I feel like it's just
crazy.
I feel like I'm still writing 2024 in my checks, you know?
Yep. Me too.
Crazy. All right, gentlemen. Thank you as always. Good job, and I will see you here next week.
Lots of fun. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for listening to the Reviews Without Remorse podcast with Joe, Kyle, and Ray. Join us here every Thursday for a new episode. You can also find our episodes on our YouTube channel. Check the link in the description. All clips in this podcast are for commentary and critique and are considered fair use. No copyright infringement is intended.
Peter, did you get the train tickets?
Actually, no, Lois. There was a guy inside selling shower curtain rings, so I bought a bunch of those.
Peter, that was the last of our cash.
These ones have helium in them, so they're very light.
You are unbelievable. The last 4 days have been a living hell. Our baby is at home all by himself, yet instead of getting us home, you've managed to make things worse at every turn. A monkey would be a refreshing step up from you. A monkey would talk less. Here's a little tip. If your instinct tells you to do something, don't do it. If your instinct tells you not to do something, it's probably the right thing to do.
You want to hurt me? Go right ahead if it makes you feel any better. I'm an easy target. Yeah, you're right. I talk too much. I also listen too much. I could be a cold-hearted cynic like you, but I don't like to hurt people's feelings. When you think what you want about me, I'm not changing. I like me. My kids like me. My friends like me. Because I'm the real article. What you see is what you get.
Movie references.